Good afternoon, everybody. I hope you're having a fantastic day so far. This is only my second English success day. As you can hear, I've travelled down from Glasgow to be with you guys today. So my name is Natalie Valenti, for those of you who have not met me before. And I've come down to speak to you guys today about one of my favourite parts of our business cycle, which is how to nail your first product launch. Now, I've been with Forever for almost 3 years now. It's actually 3 years almost to the day. Total whirlwind. It's been incredible. And I vividly remember my first success day and going along and watching all of the people coming across the stage, picking up their promotions, and all of the incredible speakers, and thinking that they must be different to me. I remember thinking it was probably easy for them. So you can be forgiven if you're new in the room for thinking that it was easy for me too. So what I'm going to tell you first, before I go on to talk about the launch, is to tell you about my first product launch. Hopefully the disaster that it was will make you feel a wee bit better about going on to do your own. So I made excuses for exactly 5 months when I first started my business, because I was really terrified of doing my launch. So you might be hearing these excuses already in your teams, or you might be currently making these excuses. What I want you to do is put them aside after today. So some of my excuses that I made up was I was too busy, I didn't think anybody would come, I didn't think my family would be interested in the products. My sponsor is actually in England, so I thought, well, I can't do it myself. I'm not particularly very good with technology, so I didn't want to Skype because I didn't know how to do it. So I just basically held myself back for 5 months and kept putting it off and putting it off. Now, you hear people talking about this why all the time. So when I eventually connected to my why, I bit the bullet and I booked my product launch. So I hosted it in a local venue, cost me about £50 for the 2 hours. I invited 35 of my family, and every single person said that they would definitely come. So I made it very simple for myself. I made little cue cards, I set up my products, I had a few little nibbles, and on the night, 7 people came. So, of course, I was a wee bit disheartened. I can say it because she's not here. My sister, who's one of my managers, she didn't come. Now, the other people that didn't come didn't give me any warning. They didn't let me know that they weren't coming. And the 7 people that did show up on the night, one was my mum, one was my gran, so I could kind of take them out of the equation. They were already using the products. They definitely weren't going to join my team. 2 of my cousins that came, who I knew would be really interested in the Clean 9, loved the cleanse. They loved it so much that they went home and bought it on eBay that night because they could get it cheaper, because they weren't getting a discount from me, because I needed my retail profit. So you can imagine that I was a wee bit disheartened by that. But what I didn't allow it to do was I didn't allow it to hold me back. I used that kind of negativity, as you like, to fuel my fire. So I thought, if my family don't believe, I have to do this very, very well to make sure that I kind of prove them wrong. And that's kind of my motivation now. What I also did was I supported my cousins throughout their Clean 9s, because obviously they weren't going to get the support from the people that they bought it from. And they have now been regular gel and shake customers of mine for the last 3 years. So whatever happens at your launch, let go of the outcome. It really doesn't matter. But my first piece of advice is just to get it done. If you wait, like I did, again, the only person that you're going to hold back is yourself. There's never going to be a perfect time. There's never going to be a time where you feel great and really comfortable about it. Because let's face it, it's a new thing. Anything that you do that's new is going to be nerve-wracking. So you just have to push through and go with it. So that is my first piece of advice. If you haven't launched yet, please go home today and make sure that's the first thing that you do, is set yourself a date. So moving on to how we actually get these launches done. So from experience over the last 3 years, I've probably done a good few hundred launches. So it's up to you to take it in any direction that you want to go. You could have it in a venue like I did, or if you've got space, you can have people at home. And again, in hindsight, it's always best to give people the option of 2 dates. So what I should have done was said, I'm having a launch on the 9th of November, but I'm also having one on the 25th of November. Which one can you make it to? So you're always kind of making it a foolproof thing. Give people the option of 2 dates. And again, if you've hosted any other type of event, maybe a wedding or a birthday party, you know that you must invite at least double the amount of people that you actually want to come, because we can't really rely on people. They make excuses and life generally happens. So invite more than what you would like to come. I think, and I teach to my team, that generally 5 to 7 days before the event is enough. We don't want to give people weeks and weeks of notice, because again, it gives them time to kind of back out, if you like. And always remember to remind the people that you've invited to come along. Don't expect them to remember. So the best thing that I do is we always try and remind them the night before and also the morning of your event, and keep it really nice and breezy. Yes, this is a very important part of your business cycle, but it doesn't have to be deadly, deadly serious. It has to be fun. So a nice way to remind your family is just to say, I can't wait to see you tonight. I can't wait for a catch-up. Now, a great way to make sure that you get more people than you would like is also to ask people to bring a guest with them. A lot of people would feel more comfortable if they could bring their best friend or their sister or their mum with them. And again, it's opening up your network all the time. I think a lovely way to invite people towards your business launch is just to ask them to come in to support you. So it's not a hard sell. It's not about the products. It's about you, because you're ultimately the representative for your business. And remember, we've talked a lot about branding our business. Everybody has their own special branding. You are your brand, so make sure that you're creative with it. You can do anything you like with your launch. You could do just about one specific type of product, or you could talk about just the makeup or just the weight management. So again, it's loads of different ways of doing your launches. Now, if someone flat out refuses to come, which they do, they're not getting away, you can still get them a pup basket. So there's always a way to get people introduced to the products. So again, preparation is, of course, key. You have to be prepared, but what I would advise is you keep things as simple as possible. You don't have to worry too much about having all of the gear. So for example, I've had people that haven't done a launch because they didn't have the tablecloth. And I'm like, you're not selling tablecloths. We're trying to get people to have a look at the product. So don't worry about having all of the fancy stuff. And you can set up your launch however you like. So I've done launches where it's been a presentation like this, but if you've never done anything like this before, it's very scary. So you could just even have your box and just take the products out and pass them around. That's what your business owner's box is designed for. It's there to help you to launch your business. So there's no rules. As I said earlier on, you are the face of your business. So whether we're retailing or whether we are recruiting, people are ultimately buying into you. So don't go to your launch wearing L'Oreal and Tom Ford. Wear your products. If you've got the Sonia range, use the makeup. If you've got the Flawless range, if you've got the perfume, make sure that you are your brand. I think an important thing to do is make sure that you're not spending too much money to do your launch. So yes, you've got your products in the box. If you do have any other products, that is a bonus. Obviously, the C9 is our biggest seller, so it's great to have samples of the shots, and I would advise you to do samples of the shakes as well. Now, what we do sometimes, especially if it's for a group of really health-conscious people, is we would mix it up a wee bit. So you can mix your shakes into nice smoothies, make them into iced lollies at this time of year if you've got a kind of summer launch, and just be creative with it. There's no kind of set rules. Now, what I always say is very simple things like make sure you have enough brochures. So again, it seems very obvious, but you would be surprised at the amount of launches I've done where it's one brochure between 5 people. So that's a key point. Make sure everybody has at least one brochure. Ideally, we want them to take one home so they can take it to work or the gym with them. And what I've started to do over the last year with my new people that I've brought in is I ask them to do an online launch on Facebook first. So most people in the room, I'm guessing, use Facebook, yes, for your business? Now, these online launches, I wish I had known about it 3 years ago. For example, when I started, they can be phenomenal if you do them correctly. So I mean correctly as in you have to be compliant and don't invite everybody that you know. Invite 10, 20 people at a time. That way you can roll out your online launches week after week after week. Ultimately, you have to have fun. Again, I'll always refer back to my own experiences with the business. You'll be surprised at how many launches have been ruined because the host has been so nervous that she has made all of the guests really nervous and everybody's kind of on edge. So if you're having fun, your guests will have fun. If your guests have fun, they will come back, they will recommend you to people, and they might just think about joining the business for themselves. Now, the close is the scariest part of anything, isn't it? That's the part that we usually worry about. Again, very simply, don't worry about the people that didn't show up. Personally thank everybody that came. They've taken time out to support you at your launch, and take orders. Again, this is the part that everybody gets scared of. So we do have really great order forms in our business owners box. What I do to keep it simple is I just take a blank A4 paper and I go around and make it as easy for people to order as possible. Now, it's important at your launches that you always mention the business opportunity. That was something that I was guilty of really missing out in the beginning, and I probably missed out on sharing the opportunity with a lot of people. You don't have to do it in a business presentation type of way. So I'm saying mention that there is an opportunity. Don't be afraid to ask the question, would you like to earn an extra income, or do you know anybody who might like an extra income? And a lovely way to get people talking about the business is by talking about the people that you are currently working with. So I might say, oh, I'm working this week with some nurses, some police officers, single mums, or personal trainers, and that way it gets them asking questions rather than you being the one having to kind of present the business to them. So the killer question really is not going to kill you. You just have to ask, do you know anybody who would like an extra income? You feel as if you might die the first time you say it, but it does get easier. So always, always ask the question. If you are a wee bit nervous, what you can do is use questionnaires. So any new business, or any business in general, would have a database. So that's what you need to start doing, is collecting data from your people, either at launches or tabletops. So your questionnaires, you want a wee bit of their personal information, so their name, their date of birth, where they live, what do they do. But you could also ask them questions like, would you like to host a party? Would you like to hear more about our makeup range? You know, things like that. So you don't have to physically ask the question yourself. That's good if you're nervous, but you must always, always remember to follow up. There is no point in you having a database if you're not going to do anything with it. Now, the online launches that I mentioned earlier on that I was talking about were just on Facebook. There's another type of online launch where you can actually go and help the people who work at a distance from you. So as I mentioned earlier on, my sponsor is in England and I'm in Scotland. We could have Skyped and she could have helped me. It actually helped me more to do it myself, I think. But Skype is a great thing, so don't be afraid of it like I was. I've done it in the past and it is actually so, so much fun. What you have to do is, again, just prepare for that. So make sure that your person knows how to set up the products. You would actually talk about the products yourself through Skype. And what they would do is just simply pass them round and kind of be the face of the party, if you like. They get to kind of speak to everybody. It's important, again, to always stay connected with your team wherever they are. Don't discount someone just because they're a wee bit further away with you. And you would close in exactly the same way, just purely by thanking everybody for coming and thanking them for their support. And yeah, good luck with your launches, guys. There's a kind of trick in the name. A launch is usually something that's done at the beginning of your business, but ultimately what we should be aiming to do is do these launches as often as possible, because it just gets you out there to so many more people. So I hope that that has been of some use today. You've been absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much.